love is an incredible thing, but that real love, that love that sometimes is difficult.
I think there's nothing in the world more beautiful than falling in love, but falling in love for the right reasons.
If you love someone, you simultaneously love and accept their fragility.
When are we going to understand that we are put on earth to love? That's all it's about. Everybody want to figure out how complicated life is and break it down. This is what I truly think. I really think that keep going on, war gonna keep going on, frustration gonna keep going on, anger gonna keep going on, till we finally go back down to the simplest word, love.
Call me when you need some, call me when you need some, call me when you need some love. Call me when you need some, call me when you need some love.
Yo, is this thing on? Tell me what the secret to love, cause I don't get it. Feeling like the rest of my life was just a myth. Especially coming from a generation where they view that young love does not exist. We view it as a complex confusion illusion that only a few can win, and most of us just hang with the burdens.
You see, girls get tired of being backdoored and dudes get tired of being generalized. It creates trust issues that continues the cycle. Call it the love gap, kinda like a love app, and you swiping right enough to see who you can love, fam. Sometimes it works out, other times it don't work, fam. Comes to psychological damage, you don't even know it. The pain I see, struggle through the rain I see. In other words, see the sorrow you breathe. But that's okay though, just remain faithful, because I guarantee you that there's light on the other side of the tunnel.
I may know 6 people, but that's enough. Love has never been a popular movement, and no one's ever wanted really to be free. The world is held together, really it is held together, by the love and the passion of very few people. Otherwise, of course, you can despair. Walk down the street of any city, any afternoon, and look around you. What you got to remember is what you're looking at is also you. Everyone you're looking at is also you. You could be that person. You could be that monster. You could be that cop. And you have to decide in yourself not to be.
James Baldwin said, love is a mirror, meaning that whoever you love is in some way, shape, or form a reflection of you. And a lot of times I feel that we decipher and differentiate what love is when love really has one common origin. In order to love someone else, truly, you must love yourself. Self-love is very, very, very important, and one thing that a lot of times we talk about but we never practice. We take the message and we spread it to the people that we clearly see don't love themselves and have a reason to love themselves, or due to us loving them, they should know to love themselves, when the reality is not so. In regards of those people who are actually giving the message out to the other people who claim that they don't love themselves in a public setting. And one thing that we also have to understand is that love and hate are not the opposite of each other. In fact, to be honest with you, they live in the same house. Kind of like how people in a world have given you the illusion that admiration or admiring someone is the total opposite of jealousy. They both live in the same household, but both give each other the illusion that they are the opposite of one another. And that's kind of like with self-love. A lot of times with self-love, sometimes you can display characteristics such as selfishness and etc. List goes on, and even see yourself dismissing yourself from trouble, when the reality of the matter is, to someone else, you're going to look like you're just dismissing the conversation entirely, when the reality of the matter is these are things that society has given us the illusion of, when the reality is not so. So with that being said, when you think of true love, also think about yourself, because whoever you're dealing with is around the same vibration, the same mental state, the same grain as you. So once you begin to understand that, and once you begin to really be able to decipher in a way that it does not feel foreign or uncomfortable to you, then you come to the realization that if you have a toxic relationship, there's some things that you probably lack. As well as if you find yourself giving more than you're getting, there might be something going with you personally that's allowing you to take that behavior. And every single human being is going to experience a time of pain and a time of, did I really let that person just do that to me? But the reality of the nature is those are lessons that are meant to be taught. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you properly love someone else? Number 2, the support of others, Friends Edition. One thing that I feel is very, 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 very tricky in regards to like really talking about and seeing what's up, you do what I'm saying? But let's really get into it. Let's get it into the dichotomy of it, shall we? A lot of us have a tendency of probably choosing our partners over our friends, especially when we just got into the relationship. A lot of us probably cancel speaking times with our friends and etc. List goes on. And then when our friend trips about it, a good amount of us, not all of us, some of us are different, but for those who are a part of this majority, and it's okay to be a part of this majority, feel that our friend is tripping because they should understand. One thing about friendships is that friendships and relationships are actually not total opposites. Just because it does not have romance in it does not necessarily mean that there are not similar functions that both parties have. In order to really have a good friendship with someone, you should be able to tell them the kind of friend that you are. What prototype are you? What caliber of friend am I getting? So that way your friend can know and choose to accept or not in regards of what kind of caliber of person and how you communicate with that kind of caliber of person. But knowing who your friends are and the kind of friends that they are, instead of letting their actions show you as time progresses, is a great way to save a lot of friendships. And the reason why a lot of us did not have that when it came to friends, and a lot of us been sunned before, a lot of us been sunned, or a lot of us been put in a weird place due to fakeness of another person, simply because the reality of that person was just really, 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 really disappointing. But at the end of the day, in order to really get a good friendship, you must remember that a friendship is also a relationship. And with that relationship comes, what kind of person are you? And seeing if you really want to be with this person.
People find is that everything that they thought that they needed from other people doesn't even make them happy, because the key thing in self-love is loving self. There is no substitute for you. There is no substitute for the care in which you can provide for yourself. There is no substitute when it comes to the way in which you can love and honor yourself. People should be an addition. They should not be the filling point to your inadequacies.
Majority of us have a tendency of going into relationships when we're not ready to actually go into a relationship. And it's something that is very human. Humans are repetitive creatures. We do that. It's okay. It's cool. It's calm. It's all right. But at the same time, when you go into a relationship, when you actually don't love yourself entirely, or if not love yourself, at least not necessarily be a fan of yourself, or even if not a fan of yourself, figure out some of the problems in which you have. A lot of times we either project those problems onto someone else, or we let somebody continuously slide on us, simply because the reality of the matter is that we are not feeling ourselves. So when you're not feeling yourself, you're most likely going to be prone to letting the person that you like do whatever they want, simply because you like them. And sometimes you like them a little more than yourself. So before I end this video, let me get a little personal on my story and why I even decided to make this video. So with that being said, let's go back to Blair I. Jackson High School, Butler College Prep. Let's get into it. Stop it.
Mr. Blair Jackson. He is currently a sophomore at Butler College Prep.
Hey, yo, it's Halloween. They put me to jail because I be selling these shorts on phone.
Blair, you're not gonna get in the video? I'm getting in it. You're too stupid. Where you going?
This bitch stupid. I'll be fighting monkeys in the nighttime.
And you see this dude over here.
Vic, put that camera at me.
That's my little homie. He annoying me.
That's my twin!
I'm about to be extremely vulnerable, and currently right now, this kind of shows me, this particular segment is kind of showing me how not actually vulnerable I actually was on camera. So let's get into it. Growing up as a kid, I was a very mushy, soft, lovey-dovey kid. I'm a mama's boy. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. So if I knew you, you was getting a hug. I loved hugs. My love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. So the only thing you really just gotta do is just just tell me some stuff and you feel me, give me a hug after, bro. But in all honesty, I was a very lovey-dovey kid, and due to me being a very lovey-dovey kid, I was always in love with the concept of love. But growing up over east on 87 and Stony Island, which is where I'm from, in regards to Chicago and everything, although I've moved so many places, I was in love with love, but I did not feel in my early years that love was in love with me. I was a chubby kid and I was ridiculed for that. If I wasn't ridiculed for that, then I was ridiculed for being a special ed. If I wasn't ridiculed for being a special ed, I was ridiculed for being considered strange or weird to people. And if I wasn't ridiculed for that, then I would just be ridiculed simply for trying to be accepted and trying to blend in with the crowd. So with that, a lot of times came girls avoiding me too. And with that, it hurt. And it hurt me because I've had women on the highest regard because they were the ones who made me feel the most comfortable. But then as time progressed and all that stuff, I started to glow up. I started to feel myself more. And with that, once I went to high school, I started getting some play. I was popular in my world, but I was known in my school, meaning that if you was an artsy kid, an outcast, a nerd, a geek, anime nerd, whatever, I was your guy. And if you was not in those cliques, then you knew who I was and you may have spoken to me. But with that, and with relationships coming into play, I also started to see a rise in my insecurity. The first ever relationship that I was in, I was cheated on. And with that, there was this girl who was trying to see what was up with me. And we was cool and we was decent. We were talking all that stuff. But at the same time, I didn't think that I was ready for her. And the only reason why I didn't think I was ready for her is because I was not feeling myself. I was very insecure. There was even another girl who I loved. I swore I loved this chick. Like, you couldn't tell me otherwise. I felt like I was in love with this chick. And she would continue to do actions such as, let's say we were talking and all that stuff, but yet it seemed like there was another dude that she may have liked. I told her, like, yo, tell me so I could get out the way. I don't want to have to be a part of this. I was also part of a lot of tripped out situationships that went absolutely nowhere. There was this other girl in college when I was like in NIU who I was vibing with and all that stuff, but eventually she felt neglected and all that. There was another situation that I thought that I was about to hit the jackpot with and was like, I think I'm in love, and etc. List goes on. And then, oh girl did something really scandalous. There was even a girl who I was with that, like, me and her, we was cool, we was solid, we was so similar to the point it was uncanny. But at the same time, her and I were constantly fighting. And it was getting to the point where my boy D-Rock, and D-Rock could attest to this, was telling me, get away from her. And it was getting to the point in my life where I'd rather be miserable with her than to be peaceful without. And once I saw that, I came to the conclusion that, oh shoot, do I love myself? Was I using these relationships as a way to find a way or a cheat code to feel secure within myself? And I'm not saying that having insecurities and all that stuff is an automatic, you don't love yourself. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that with insecurities, with trauma, and etc., although they will always be around, although they will always exist, loving yourself is the best way to go. Moral of the story, although I might have not had a clear ending, moral of the story is, if you take time to love yourself, realize your insecurities and all that stuff, instead of trying to have your partner figure it out for you, or you try to figure out your partner's insecurities and try to solve it for them, taking care of yourself, words of affirmation towards yourself, taking yourself out to places, really digging in deep and really seeing like, yo, what's up with yourself? Like, what's up with me? Like, I'm looking good today. Like, stuff like that is things that can help you tremendously. In order for you to find true love and true friendship, you must learn that with yourself. Because once you do that, then you begin to understand what are your boundaries, what are your expectations. And with that, even if you don't end up at the exact place that you imagine, you will still be content because you did not necessarily need that particular person for validation, since you already have your own self-validation. Love yourself if you haven't. And if you relate to this, a hit dog will holler. Love you all. And although I did this so late, enjoy your Friday. And if you have not had an enjoyable Friday, I pray that you do. Much love. Sincerely, Blair. Peace.
Call me when you need some, call me when you need